ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond. My name is Dorian from Group82University.com, BasketballCEO.com, and basketball is a love language to me. How Nike controls every level of elite basketball. For those of y'all that don't know Nike's history, you can go watch that movie Air, that fake movie that acts like that it's about what it's about, but it really ain't about because, they left out a lot of people who helped in that. And I really didn't like how they did Michael Jordan's dad in the movie, but, hey, that's what they wanted to do. That's what Hollywood wanted to do. Jordan family signed off on it. Who am I to say anything? But Nike in the 80s was like every other shoe company. They were actually behind every other shoe company. And what they had to do is they had to find a way to make up market share from Adidas, from Converse, from whoever was out at that time that was dominating the shoe market. And what they decided to do was disruptive marketing through basketball. And instead of having the team or the shoe itself be homogenized and you put on every single player, we're going to get Dr. J and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They just bet everything on Michael Jordan. They made an extremely great bet, and it's paid off. It's probably the greatest sports marketing deal of all time. Nike's probably the greatest sports apparel and marketing company of all time. And the Jordan brand brings in like $6 billion a year still to this day, and Michael gets a royalty off of that. So all throughout the 90s, once Michael was, going back and forth between baseball and basketball, Nike was preparing themselves for what was next. And if you saw them at that time, they were giving shoe deals to everybody. Alonzo Mourning had a shoe deal. Of course, Penny Hardaway, his shoes rang off. Ken Griffey Jr. over in baseball, he had a shoe deal. Deion Sanders, there was all these dope shoes, and Nike was on our feet year round. But they knew their bread and butter was basketball. Because Michael Jordan becoming Michael Jordan not only gave Nike all of its market share inside of the athletic apparel industry, it made Nike a political figure in sports across the board because they were sponsoring Michael at the Olympics. So they had all this signage at the 92 Dream Team Olympics. Michael was a great ambassador of the brand when he went and accepted his gold medal in Barcelona. Even though the uniforms and the warm-ups were sponsored by Reebok, Michael donned the American flag over his shoulders just so it could cover up the Reebok logo when he was accepting his gold medal, because that's how loyal he was to Nike. The brand recognition that Nike was able to get while simultaneously being attached to the most popular face in the world outside of Princess Diana is something that nobody planned for, and it's something that they were trying to replicate. And guess what? They did it! They did it again. They spent all this money, all this time in grassroots AAU, in college basketball, and high school basketball, and they found LeBron James. But to find LeBron James, they had to spend a lot of money in grassroots. I'm talking sponsoring AAU teams, circuits, Nike AllAmerican camp that used to be held in Indianapolis. I went one time as a spectator because they used to open up the All-Star game to the public at the end of the camp. So I went and watched that one time. It was down at IUPUI. Shout out Naptown. Nike made sure that all the elite high school programs and players were donned at Nike, so they had to deal with a whole bunch of agents and ADs and everybody that's in the high school industry. In the 80s, Nike started sponsoring coaches. These coaches that were on TV, Jim Boeheim at Syracuse, John Thompson at Georgetown. I don't know if St. John's with Louis Carnesecca, I don't know if they were Nike as well, but eventually they were the first ones to start giving these coaches these $1 million shoe deals, so that way the entire program would be outfitted in Nike, and all the future NBA players that were on these teams would be wearing Nike. Nike has been the backbone of USA basketball since that Reebok thing. They made sure they got inside of there, and Nike sponsors like every single USA basketball program, and there's so many USA basketball teams from the 3-on-3 to the U16, U17, U18, U19. It's all types of teams, and Nike is deep inside of that. And if you look at the people that work inside of USA basketball, they either have some relationship with Nike itself or with a school that was sponsored by Nike. And because Nike did all this, they had this full court press. They got LeBron. They found him. They found the next Michael Jordan. And LeBron's brand has been phenomenal. It's made them a lot of money. And LeBron has helped elevate Nike into the global brand that is. It was already there, but he helped cement it and keep it around and keep it number one with everything that he's been doing. He's been a great partner with Nike, and now he has a $1 billion deal along with Kevin Durant. But when you start looking at the Nike shoe business after that, what happens? You got LeBron James, you got KD, y'all did have Kyrie, you got rid of him. Yeah, who else? Who else has signature shoes? And all of us, we love LeBron. Well, I love LeBron. And I know everybody in my circle, we love LeBron. But when you start talking about shoe catalogs, when you look at LeBron's shoe catalog versus Michael Jordan's shoe catalog, whose catalog is more of a classic? Whose catalog is bringing in more revenue? Whose catalog is more versatile? You don't see people wearing LeBrons nearly as much as you've seen Jordans, and you don't see them as versatile. Like, I cannot remember the last time I seen somebody wear some LeBrons with a tuxedo. But those Concords, they get worn with tuxedos all the time. So what Nike has done, if you look, they've really scaled back in their signature shoe business. They tried to give Ja a signature shoe, and they actually did give it to him, and they still got it rolling out and it's still coming out. But, you know, clearly he ain't the guy for that. And it's not like if you get Ja his signature shoe, that's going to be like when people were buying Jordans in the 90s. They're not going to be wrapped around the lines in the mall to get them shoes. When the kids do get the shoes, they might wear them on the court. But once they get out of that signature shoe, once they get off the court, they're going to wear something else. They have different shoes for their lifestyle. And Jordans are usually the lifestyle shoe as opposed to the court shoe. But Nike has his hands involved in everything. I think one of the greatest assets that Nike has right now, for those of y'all that don't follow AAU basketball like that, is the Peach Jam. Nike EYBL. It's the Elite Youth Basketball League. And inside of the Elite Youth Basketball League, it's the top AAU teams, top AAU players from all over the country. Nike sponsors these AAU programs in all the major cities. They reach out to the people that at this point they know by name or relationship, the handlers of the talent, because, you know, they got a church or they got a AAU team that's already good, or they got some sports program, or a guy used to coach here. And so what they do is they give these guys $50,000, maybe $75,000, maybe $100,000 if you're lucky to have an entire AAU program. So these AAU programs that you see that have, you know, the Knight Riders with the Boozer twins, or Maine United with Cooper Flagg, or Expressions with AJ Debonsa. You know, these directors of these programs, they hopefully get money from Nike to not just have a 17 and under team. You know, they want you to have a 16s and under team, maybe even 15s, maybe even an 8th grade team. And in some situations, they might expect you to have a girls team too. And you got to travel to 4 different tournaments inside of the Nike EYBL system. And if you qualify and you do well enough at those 4 different tournaments, then you can go on to Peach Jam, which is in Augusta, Georgia. And Peach Jam is like the Final Four for Nike Elite Youth AAU basketball. Everybody goes. LeBron was just there, and Carmelo was there, and, you know, every college coach is go in there. Now NBA scouts are coming in there. It's a celebration for AAU basketball. It's a celebration for Nike. Nike has even negotiated terms with the NBA, where this year Peach Jam was on the NBA app, NBA TV. Highlights from Peach Jam are on the NBA YouTube channel, and the NBA Twitter, and the NBA Instagram. You're seeing Cooper Flagg on there, and this is all at the doing of Nike. Nike is integrated in every single aspect of elite basketball. If you want to be involved in basketball, you have to be attached to Nike. Yes, there are Adidas programs. Yes, there are Under Armour programs. Yes, you can be successful and you can get to the NBA and have a great career going through Adidas or going through Under Armour. Steph Curry has a $1 billion deal with Under Armour, probably more than that. He'll tell me how much equity Steph has. But those guys are one of one. If you go outside of the Nike system, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to get noticed. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to progress. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to get ranked, to get media coverage, to get scholarship offers. It's just a lot more difficult for you to do it outside of the system than in it. Not saying it can't be done. I've seen it. I've seen it from Adidas, Reebok, Under Armour. I've seen it from them all. You can play, you can play. But when you talk about what's going on in the world of basketball, if you ain't got a swoosh, you're going to be out the loop. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true.